So, a model comes across your desk. You're asked to review it to make sure it's doing the right thing. However, it looks like a dog's breakfast. What do you do? Hi, I'm Kyle, and welcome to the tutorial 3 top tips for de-risking a model. Today we're going to cover number 1, understanding the macro and micro perspectives to de-risking a model. And 2, learn the 3 top tips for reviewing a model. So, let's delve in. When reviewing a model, it's important to understand whether you're looking at the macro perspective or the micro perspective. The macro perspective is asking, overall, is this model solving the right problem? Do the answers look about right commercially? The micro perspective is asking, is this formula doing what it's supposed to be doing? Now, professional model auditors will go through the model at both of these levels, spending the bulk of their time in the micro perspective, reviewing each cell in detail to assess whether it is doing the right job. And I don't mean all cells. I mean only those cells that have a unique formula. In other words, one that is different from the surrounding cells. Here's an example, using the software Spreadsheet Advantage to demonstrate. In this section, for example, we have 11 unique formula, so it's not quite as bad as you think. For this tutorial, we haven't got time for 100 plus hours auditing a model, right? You're probably more at this end of the spectrum, and hence, most of the review will be taking place at the macro perspective. So, with that out of the way, you can breathe easy. Here's my 3 top tips to get quick wins on reviewing your model. Number 1, use the scenario manager. Try and break the model. The scenario manager is there to flex key variables in the model. In de-risking a model, we're not interested in most likely numbers. We're here to break the model. We're interested in extreme cases. For example, what if the construction costs increase by 100%? What if the inflation rate goes up by 10%? i.e., if CPI was 3% per annum, it is now 13% per annum. What if the merchant power price halves, meaning I only get half of my wholesale revenue? These should have a predictable impact on the model. Did you notice how the internal rate of return and NPV changed for each case? Did you notice how in some cases our alerts went off? Let me run them again. Our goal here is to try and break the model by putting ridiculous values in and see what the result is. Number 2, turbocharge the scenario manager with a data table. Systematically break the model and scrutinize any unexpected changes. The key here is to set up a data table on the row totals of the cash flow waterfall. This will allow you to compare on a line-by-line basis the cash flow outputs between the above cases and the base case. Does the model break at the points it is expected to? Are there any strange values that are coming through? Highlight those values. Once you've done this, set the model to the corresponding case and backtrack through the model to investigate those values. For example, here, if we increase the interest rate, we can see that principal becomes positive. This is not supposed to happen. We're not supposed to draw down more debt here. Setting the model to case 4, starting at the cash flow waterfall and tracking back to the debt sheet, and tracking all the way back to where principal is calculated, we can see that principal goes negative, which in this case means a drawdown. And that's because the interest paid is greater than the cash flow available. So this has alerted us to the issue. Then we'd solve that issue, in this case by trapping for that appropriately. This method should give you a lot of confidence before you show the model to your boss, your board, or investment committee, because you would have covered all the scenarios they're likely to input, and methodically investigated each one for the discrepancies. Number 3. Use software or add-ins to make the job easier. Here, we are looking at the micro perspective, which is the more time-consuming perspective. Software vendors have solutions to make the job easier. I'm going to cover 2 key pieces of software here. The first one is Spreadsheet Advantage. The Maps feature of the software makes it easy to see where the row inconsistencies are featured. Here's another tip. If you don't feel like shelling out for Spreadsheet Advantage or the equivalent, you can use Excel's inbuilt F5 Special menu to find row inconsistencies. The easiest way of doing this is to highlight the whole column, select all the way to the right, and then use the F5 Special, or even quicker, Ctrl+/ to find the inconsistencies. The second add-in is BPM Traverse. Using Traverse, we can easily navigate through the model to investigate suspect values. Those are the top 3 tips. Put those into practice, and it will get you started nicely on de-risking your next model. If you like these tips, I also have a full course on reviewing a model, where you will get a solid process for going through and reviewing a model, which will help you save time and have more confidence in the model you review. See you on the next tutorial. Over and out.